Hey there, we're here to work on Functional Warrior 1 today. Now, if you're new to practicing with me, you're like, what the heck is Functional Warrior 1? Where's my Traditional Warrior 1? And rest assured, your Traditional Warrior 1 is still out there somewhere. It's just not in this video library. So we're going to be working with Functional Warrior 1, and I'm going to explain a couple of things why along the way to hopefully sway you over to a safer style of practicing, and one that is, of course, more effective. All right, so Lainey's going to step up to the top of her mat. And in Tadasana, remember, you have that video on Tadasana. She's going to draw her body into that great mountain pose, and then when she's ready, she's going to casually step back with her right foot. So now don't change your foot at all. So this is a great time and opportunity to have your students look back at the foot they stepped back with. Because if you don't tell them a whole lot, what's going to end up happening is they've stepped back with their natural turnout or their natural alignment. For most people, it's turned out. And for most people, one foot is turned out more than the other. I know my left leg turns out more than my right because I have some funky glute stuff going on that side. Thank you to my 3 children. But once they've drawn that awareness, now the reprogramming starts because now they have something to start and base their foundation on. So if Lainey looks at her back foot again, she's going to kick her heel out. So her toes go, yes, straight forward, but the outer edge of the foot lines up with the outer edge of the mat. Now you will have several students go, whoa, I feel like my foot's really turned in. Rest assured it's not. It's because they're used to a turnout. Their muscles are not used to being in a parallel position. Here's the deal. If you're going straight forward, your feet should be going straight forward. How many times do you go to the supermarket and you see people walking forward except their feet are turning in 2 different directions? Yoga has to be an effective method to retrain the body towards a more healthy and balanced way. I'm not saying that any other postures are wrong. I'm just saying this is going to be an effective blueprint to help people with real issues. Okay, back foot is forward. Front foot is forward. Outer edge of the feet line up with the outer edge of the mat. We're on 2 water skis, not 1. I'd rather have people slightly wider, within reason, than more narrow. Lainey's going to bring her hands to her hips, and she's going to square her hips with the front corners of the mat. I could come up behind her as her teacher and do the same thing for her if she was needing more assistance. Once she's done that, pelvic neutral, pubic bone, hip bones parallel with the front wall. I always deal with the upper body last because the lower body is going to be that initial concern. Keeping your back heel anchored, bend the front knee. So now where people go wrong is they lunge themselves forward, usually because they're doing nothing with their back leg. So I'm holding Lainey's heel down. This could be a little adjustment for you with your students to help you keep them anchored without having to get down and do that. More time effective. So keeping your heel, we're going to kick it out a little bit actually. Keeping your heel anchored down into the floor, thigh muscle is somewhat contracted. As she lunges or bends her knee, I would prefer, rather than tell him to lunge. She's going to keep that back leg nice and anchored. As she keeps her hips squared, she's engaging her inner thighs together so that we honor that sliding joint of the sacrum. This is going to save your students that have back pain, that have SI joint issues, that have pelvis issues. You're going to start to give them the stability that their body is craving, and I promise you their chiropractors will notice. All right, so the hand at the hips is a great way also to notice if they're dumping. So the belly is dumped forward, the hip bones are going to be protruded forward, tailbone is going to be protruded back. We want to stack the pelvis so that the rest of the spine has the integrity that it needs. Going back to mountain pose, rib cage is down, and then when you're ready, we're going to bend and extend. Inhale, bringing your arms up overhead, consciously trying to breathe into the rib cage. Now, where some people try to go wrong here in Functional Warrior 1 is they're used to this mega long stride. You do not need a super long stride. That being said, Lainey can increase her stride length as long as her pelvis can stay neutral. So if, you step it back, now kick out your back heel. See, she's human just like I am, even more. Kick it out, you got it. Okay, so if her hip flexor on her front leg and quad are really tight and she starts to lengthen her stride out, that hip flexor is going to be like, no, I can't do this. So as a result, something has to give and the pelvis is going to dump forward. That is a surefire sign your stride is too long. I see this in Warrior One all the time, even in high lunge. Please, the length of the stride does not equate to the power of the posture. Thighs are engaging. If I look at her from a side profile, I can draw a lace right through from one hip to the other so that she feels no pain and discomfort in her lower back. Same thing again, I'm going to externally rotate her arms to keep her shoulders anchored down, not at the cost of her front core contraction, of course. And then finally, she has some great igniting in the arms as well, all the way to her fingertips. To come out of the pose, nice deep breath in, press into the front foot and step up. Slowly lower your arms down into mountain pose. Great.